Heavenly Father, need to talk to you, it seems. I'm unhappy about possibly having lost my friend, upset her in some way, not clear how or where, but I trust it to you, Lord. I find that I need you to have a need for me, else I am not secure. These people unload me from their company because they feel in their heart they have no need for it, for me, in their life. Perhaps I'm not acceptable in a way that I'm not really grasping. And so they disassociate themselves with me. And I feel the loss terribly. And causes me to turn to you, Father. I'm reminded that I choose to love and have chosen to love, whether it's my partners in life or children or friends. I've chosen to love and chosen to recognize and to hold that I have a need, a longing for such people. And that longing is a mixture of what I find is the case and what I create. A need I find that I have, and a need that I create for the love of them, that I love them more. And I'm wondering, Father, how is it with you? If I as a father do this with my children and friends and wives, how much more do you choose to have a need for us to love you, that we may have the choice of giving to you that which you value. Otherwise it would be as nothing, wouldn't it, Lord? If you have everything indeed, and choose to know that you have everything, what can we offer you that's of value? Our relationship to you seems to lean upon you choosing to have a need for our love. And so in your kindness I understand that you have done so. And you suffer sorrow when we do not reciprocate that love. And hold a need for you in our lives. My soul longs for you. My soul longs for you. Nothing else will do, Heavenly Father. I of my own will create this need for you, that you may be loved, that you may be loved. And I hope with all my heart protected Father, from those who would not reciprocate your love. For I do not want you to suffer sorrow as I have suffered sorrow. I do not want that, Father, for anyone. How much more you, the author of life, the giver of everything that anyone ever had, ever has, and ever will have. That's who I find I am, Lord, by your grace and goodness. Love you, Heavenly Father. Just love you. May I ask to feel your love? Seem to need it at the minute. Thank you, Heavenly Father. I see I've seemed to have coined a word that's between the word choose and joy, jois. Where I choose to find joy in someone or something, whether it's you, Heavenly Father, or whether it's a friend, or some other person, partner or child, creature even plants, trees, and the whole universe that you've given us. Somewhere between joy and choice, I choose to find joy in such. I attach a need to all that I find to be good. More than that, all that I find that I want to be good, whether it is or not. I choose to want to find joy in the bad as well. Owning it all as from you and as being a blessing, although I don't necessarily see in what way it can be a blessing, but as an act of trust in you. I choose to, in a sense, have faith in it. Do you do that with us, Lord? I think you do. I'd almost like to say I'm sure you do. I'm certainly clear I want to believe that you do. I choose to believe that you choose to take joy in us. Love you, Heavenly Father. Love you. And if I'm wrong, Heavenly Father, still I love you. That's what I want to do, with all my heart. Love you, Lord. Thank you, Heavenly Father. Well, I find it to be an heroic act. In a universe where God is all love and all powerful, all things are to good. And therefore it's valid to trust all things to be good, for good, and to in some sense run with them. But of course, if I say of course, but as I reason anyway, let me say that. If, for instance, God were not all loving, God forbid, or if he were not all powerful, may not be so, but still, if he was the case, and then it would be madness to hold that which was bad and what we might say to be truly evil and destructive was being allowed for good necessarily, but should on the other hand be resisted with all our might. And if we're not doing that, then we let bad in that needn't be there perhaps. Of course, if bad were so powerful that it can get in anyway, well, then we're in the secular sorrow that the world suffers greatly from. It doesn't seem to be a good belief to have. It seems to result in all the sorrow I see around me in the world. Whereas, if I hold that all things are good because I trust earnestly, because I choose to trust that God is both all-powerful and all-loving, I seem to be relieved of such secular burden that I would otherwise have. And I suppose the question is, well, is that so? Do I find I am so relieved? You could say perhaps that the jury is still out on that issue, because I do still feel sorrow at times, and I bring it to God, as you've seen here. But of course I bring it to my God, whom I choose to believe to be all-powerful and all-loving. So of course I get the same answer, that he's all-powerful and all-loving, and therefore not to worry. And he wipes away all tears, and I'm still on my feet, in joy and happiness. Now, is that just a panacea for the present, but courts danger for the future? Because the world perhaps is not as I take it to be, as I trust it to be. The circumstances are not that God is all-powerful, and not that he's all-loving. And therefore I'm at risk and constantly come across proof, if you like, evidence, demonstration of such. By which I mean, of course, happenings that are sad to me and drive me back into the arms of my God. Well, supposing that is the case, it drives me back into the arms of my God, and my God is the personification of what I truly value. Well, that's a good place to be, isn't it? I'm still loving my God with all my heart, soul, mind and strength. I've got current evidence that what I'm doing brings joy and happiness, as opposed to sadness and sorrow and want. But this is in as far as I am able to always do such, always bring it to God, and solve it, if you like, in this way, by drawing on my trust in Him. Now, some people see things differently after a while. have so much sorrow and so much unhappiness in their life, they're swamped by it, and they can't trust in God being either all-powerful or even either all-loving, or at least not one or the other of such. And that's very great unhappiness to be in. And our heart goes out to such people. We are moved in loving kindness by their great need. That drives us out to want to rescue them and to act accordingly. We get hurt in the process because they have a conviction that God is either not all-powerful or not all-loving, and they're in sorrow because of that. And their sorrow communicates their conviction to us. We speak from our joy, and they speak from their sorrow. We do not have a desire for their sorrow, of course. We have a great desire that they receive our joy. And they, because of their sorrow, have a great desire to have our joy too. So we're in powerful agreement, love each other greatly. It's understood that one is needing rescue, and it's understood that the other wants to give it. And these two come together. There's a great love between them. And love becomes all important. Isn't that wonderful? So I rescue people. Perhaps you rescue people too. Well, I'm sure you do. And a worldling might say, well, you're in a fool's paradise. I think it'll all collapse at some time. I'm not sure what to say about that, except to say you can't be sure of anything, because that is your belief, that God is not all-powerful or not all-loving, or neither, or not even there at all. And that leaves you in endless doubt and sorrow. Whereas we have joy and trust. You need this. And they might reply, we might well need it. But do we have it? And to which we say, well, apparently not. But I can tell you how you could gain it. And that is by focusing deliberately on whatever is good and lovely in your life. And that will fill you with a feeling of desire to be grateful and thankful to God, whether He exists or not, whether He's good or not, whether He's faithful or not, whether He's all-powerful or not, whether He loves you or not. Because gratitude does that. And you will come into the peace of mind and joy that we have. wouldn't you want to do that? Do you love uncertainty? Do you love the situation where you may be assailed by grief, sorrow, something you can do nothing about? Obviously not. But you feel your reality won't change. The change of what you trust. What if what you trust is causing what you suffer from? That you are actually believing in uncertainty. In, say, God not being, or God not being all powerful, or God not being all loving. What if your belief, your conviction, your trust of such is what's causing you the very thing you fear? How can you be rescued from such? Well, I can tell you that, yet again. Search out everything that you find in your life that you're grateful for and happy with, day in, day out, moment by moment. And you'll want to be thankful, and you'll want God to exist, and want to thank Him for it. Your conviction, your trust, your faith will grow beyond your comprehension, and actually beyond your control. And you'll have the happiness and joy that we have. You'll also, I think, have the miracles that we have. So I give these keys to you. You can use them or not as you wish. You can believe that what happens to you in this universe is all chance, and there's nothing you can do about it. Or you can choose not to believe the alternative, but to simply practice looking for the good, focusing on it, letting gratitude, hope, trust, joy, and peace, and goodness follow accordingly. And fill your life with faith, all goodness, all that you truly value. Those who have ears, let them hear. Truly, truly, I say unto you, I'm come that you might have life, and have it more abundantly. This is my desire. I put in myself a need, a longing for you to be rescued, to be filled with joy and goodness, peace and hope, well-being, life itself, life eternal. I choose to have a need that you receive such. And I will not be satisfied until that need is met. Now, if God is all powerful and all loving, well, you'll soon find out. Thank you, Heavenly Father. Listener, do you hear what I'm saying? That if we don't choose to trust that God has a need for our love, and that he puts himself in a position where he loves us greatly, if that is not the case, then we don't have the resources to survive loving others. For we will be overcome with sorrow whilst we hold a need for them to love us. Which is not met by them. And yet we can't turn to you, Heavenly Father, for consolation, and if you like, refueling, to make it okay, because you love us, the source of all love, and that's what really matters. So if we don't choose to trust in you, your ability to love, your power, so to speak, and your choice to need our love, your choice to love us, to put yourself in a position of need, purely for our sake, so that we have something to give you. Because we find we have a need to want to meet others' needs. And if they have no need for us, Lord, for whatever reason they choose to have no need for us, and we in our sorrow will greatly need your love, and we do. And indeed, it's their lack of need for us to love them that fuels our need for your love, for your willingness to have a need for us. You've chosen to have children, us, chosen that we be a joy to you, and that you have a need that responds to us loving you. You didn't need to choose that as far as I can see, or perhaps you did. Perhaps you didn't like loneliness. You didn't want heaven without us. That you had the idea of, what about wanting to have a family? I think I'd like to do that. And you created a need to have us. And we so love you for that, Lord. For you have created our salvation, our rescue, into life, and into life eternal. Love you, Heavenly Father. So, it is you, Lord, the thought of you, that makes it possible for us to love others, whether they respond or not. Thank you, Heavenly Father. What an astonishing, infinite blessing you are. Love you. Thank you, Heavenly Father.